doing Between the Whistles. I'm Joe.
I'm Cindy. And we don't know who this is. This guy just wandered in. Should we? I don't know. You might know him. I don't know. Hey!
Shoot, the cops are gone? Thanks for hiding me out.
We cleared out law enforcement for you. Man, exciting night here on Between the Whistles. We're welcome to have you here on the Cindy and Joe Show. And for those of you who don't know, for the 1% out there who don't know who we have with us,
0.5%.
the 0.5%. He's always got to one-up me on this.
My
I
wife
don't get it.
used to be one of these. One of 5 people in Michigan.
One of 5 people who don't know who this is. This is our good friend, obviously, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, former Detroit Red Wing, Darren McCarty. And we are so excited to have him with us.
Proof.
There you go. He's got the mark.
Good to be here.
And thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you, and we have so much to cover. I don't even know where we want to start, but Joe, you let me know. Where do we want to start with Darren tonight?
We had a good conversation before this, so you're going to start.
Joe wants to start with the conversation where Cindy said, Joe and I are on 2 different sides of this argument, and I said, well, I'll tell you who's right. Did it work out? I had to explain
It worked out a little.
to Cindy how, and this is Cole's notes, how Luke Glendening is the pulse of that locker room. So he's just as valuable, but no, Dylan is the rightful heir apparent. And Cindy, at the end all be all, is why? Why?
Culture.
Because Stevie said so.
Because Stevie said so?
Yes.
That's right, because Stevie said so. I missed the punchline
The
on it
wiser
entirely.
plan. That's why you're in politics and in entertainment.
That's right.
And
I'm a newbie. I'm a rookie here.
Well, not. You know what? You want to try to pull that BS. That's wrong. You've been in training for three hard years and done a great job and learned a lot about the game. And what I love about your show and this is important is it's relatable and it's true and it's honest, and to be able to ask those questions and have that perfect. You're not wrong. Like I said, nobody's wrong in their opinion, but sometimes it's the perspective and understanding the bigger picture of what's going on. Now, to your point, Luke Glendening, in my opinion, would probably be captain of the Detroit Red Wings if they were the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. Right?
Yeah.
So, which means if we were a championship team because of where they come from. But because this is the wiser plan, everybody, which is 4 or 5 years out,
Yeah.
this is progress, not perfection. And in my opinion, there was a ton of progress this year.
Well, and that's interesting because, there was an article today that I read that there were some, I think it was Detroit Free Press writer, I think. Somebody wrote, I don't remember, but the argument was that there was no progress with the Red Wings this year. And I disagree with that. I'm with you on that one.
Well, I don't know who wrote that stupidity, but
Yeah.
you're not thinking, it's still baby steps. Now we're slowly getting into the toddler phase, but this is from the perspective of people looking for big strides. No, you gotta look it down. And like I said to you guys before, okay, I get it, but you look at the last month of the season where it was about holding the teams down and trying to win 1-0 and not on purpose, but really solidifying the defensive game because that's where you win. So they proved that they could hold teams down. Now, do we have to get scoring? Absolutely, but it's just like what the Detroit Lions did. The Lions could have come in and, as the ownership, come in and gone, we need to fix this, we need to fix this, we need to fix this. No, you know what they did? They came in, they said, what's our greatest strength? The offensive line. Well, it's good, let's make it great. In fact, let's just, if everything plays out well, let's get this and let's build a pit. Let's build a mosh pit of guys that'll compete and don't like to lose, but do it to the whistle, right? Just like your coach, stuff like this. So, back over to the Red Wings, it's a little bit longer process, but the defensive game, the puck movement. Now, you look at the biggest, obviously the biggest move, the Anthony Mantha, which I said to you before. I was asked, the day of the trade deadline, do you think he's going to get traded? I said, absolutely not, unless it's a too good to be true offer. And it's too good. When he got traded, I was like, what? You got traded? And I said, for what? And then I went, oh, okay, good luck. Good luck, because you're building, and it goes deeper than that because it's about the culture. It's about, not only Jacob Verana, the hockey player, the Stanley Cup winner, the Czechoslovakian young. Oh yeah, remember Zadina? He's a young Czech guy. There's chemistry. You go watch the Russian Five.
Yep.
You go look at the different ways, and it has to be. Yeah, you'll have your different. They call it, if you want to call it cliques or whatever, like the grind line, the younger guys, age, country, language, whatever like this. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's Igor Larionov, Thomas Holmstrom. Actually, Igor speaks better English than Thomas Holmstrom. Just by the way, just for a fact on that.
And just interject here, Joe. I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but just because he mentioned Thomas Holmstrom, one of the first times he's gonna know this, he's laughing already. One of the first times that when I was starting my education about hockey, and Darren was educating me as we were doing our research for our project we're working on that we'll talk about in a little bit, but. We were at dinner and he's saying, Homer this and Homer that and Homer, and I didn't know who the hell he was talking about. I said, excuse me, could you tell me who Homer is? I thought it was a first name. He's like, oh, Thomas Holmstrom. I'm like, oh, okay, I gotcha. Because I'd done at least enoug research and enough of my homework to know that. I didn't know who the hell Homer was. Now it's like, he talks about Thomas Holmstrom and I know him as Homer.
Thomas Holmstrom was a dog. He was straight dog.
Absolutely. Well, that's what happens. That's what happens when you make out with a reindeer. You.
Now he just taking all that beating in front of the net,
Warrior.
That's a true warrior. I don't know if there was a thing circulating the internet. It was shoulder pads and the back pads that he had.
Oh yeah, and the shin pads on the back of it.
Yeah.
The armor. It was like body armor. He was literally as close to a body armor gladiator as you'd see. With just his straps, right? So he didn't have any padding up here. He had pads here, and everything down his back from getting cross-checked. But what a warrior.
Yeah, I also heard he's also one of the nicest guys. Most fans just really loved him.
Oh, he's the best.
I mean, just one of a really great guy.
So much. But I love him to death. He's like another brother. But it's the heart of the champion, man. And the one thing I'm most proud of is have 4 Stanley Cups with Drapes, Maltz, Lidstrom, and Homer. So that's Nick Lidstrom, Thomas Holmstrom, Kirk Maltby, and Chris Draper.
For those of you who don't know, if you were like I was a few years ago, then you need that. Yeah, remember when you said I had my baby wings? Then I graduated.
That's it, your little winglet. You're bigger.
Yeah.
You're all growing, soon we can shake your tail feathers.
That's right. Now, am I like an adolescent wing now? Am I like a teenage wing? Am I a young? What am I? Where am I at?
Yes, 11. You're like in preteen.
I'm a preteen.
I mean, put it this way, it's almost ready for your bar mitzvah. But in a year or so, but your teenage years and that high school will be in a couple. Yeah, so you're gonna probably be junior, senior in high school. Before that, probably maybe a sophomore playoffs and then junior. So
gotcha.
3-4 more years.
All right.
Well, you're going. Hey, you know what? You could skip a couple grades though.
Hey, I appreciate that. See, because I had a great tutor.
Well,
look at my tutor, here.
I feel like Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting right now.
Yes, I'm gonna make you so proud. I'll be your Matt Dane.
How about them apples?
That's right. I got her number. How you like them apples? Speaking of creepy people getting my number, that's another conversation we were having, right, Joe?
Wait.
Creepy.
Wait.
Yeah.
You said the email.
It wasn't email.
What were you surfing?
Well, listen, I was.
Wait.
Listen.
What exactly were you surfing?
So Joe and I were having a conversation recently because Joe, checks all my inbox and my social media, and he's great, and he gets a little, I think, shell shocked sometimes at what comes into my inbox. Well, this was. Well, so these are people who message me on Facebook and they send me message requests. And I said, Joe, I had one heck of a week. And I said, I had 2 marriage proposals. I had 1 sugar daddy who wanted me to be a sugar baby. And I had 1 person who wanted me to be their mommy. And I'm quite frankly used to getting that. A lot of young guys tend to message me and they want to do the whole mommy thing. I get where they're coming from. This guy upped the ante. He had diapers on. He had a diaper on. I said, I've never been sent I've been sent some pictures, okay? Yeah, you know that. Everybody knows that. We've talked about the pictures that come into my inbox, but this guy, an actual diaper, that was a first for me. I got to tell you.
That's when I told you, you need to just tell him,
No, you just need to shelf it, and it's not that bad yet. But put it up. I told you, the law of some J&D associates will look into it if it gets that bad.
That's Joe and Darren, y'all.
Yes.
Yes, for those of you who know, or Jeff and Darren.
And Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff and Darren.
Everybody's involved here in that. So yeah, crazy stuff, creepy stuff.
I told you the guy should just go check himself into a psychiatrist. Right?
Yeah, you just said psych ward. Just
psych
put
ward.
a.
Take yourself to the hospital ward. Check yourself in. Say, listen, I got some problems. I need to get it done right now. Tell them what you did.
Yeah.
And they'll probably lock you away for a long time.
Interesting
stuff.
You
You just.
from experience, or you just speculating?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
All right.
As he touches diaper.
That's right. Adjust those straps on the side. But now that actually brings up an interesting point. We have our fan bases right now, and it's getting kind of crazy because my fan base got to be about 5,000 or so. It was, at one point, it was crazy, and I'm sure yours is 500,000. What was the craziest thing you ever had a fan do? Like, how did they reach out to you in the craziest way?
Oh man, are you talking like?
I mean, they're
in ever
that you can remember, like one that was just bizarre. That one's my most bizarre. I can tell you that.
Well, you know what? You think the most uncomfortable is I had a girl like lock me in the bathroom before.
Wait, what?
And I didn't want to be locked. Like, and she was hot and everything, but she just followed me in the bathroom, locked the door.
Like a public bathroom?
Yeah. She wanted her way with me.
And so she figured, in the public bathroom, lock the door, you're good?
That's the goal. Yeah, it didn't happen. So, but yeah, it was just, that was the most. Like I was like.
Were you kind of worried you might be having what's that movie Misery? Like a misery moment with this chick, like she was gonna.
Those moments, yeah. I've had goes against people. I've had people threaten to kill my wife before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know what?
That shit's for real, but
it really is. It really is.
Here's the whole thing: is that for whatever else, and anybody who knows me, I'll tell you once and show you twice. That's the worst thing you can do. It's not me. It's because of who I surround myself with now, and everybody else. That's the worst thing, because with everything that's going on, and my thing is, I'm not here. I don't want to argue with anybody. I'm here for what do you mean by that? And if I'm not doing it, you can do whatever you want. If I'm not doing it, please don't do it near me. And because I'm not into that. So that's it. And it's just setting. What I tell everybody is just you have to set your boundaries.
Absolutely.
Right? You have to set your boundaries. And I always say, with recovery, or if you want to get better, you can't lie to that person in the mirror. So no matter what, be honest with that person, and then you can get out or make it better. But if you can't start there, then you'll never get out. So I mean, you
run across some just crazy stuff, and people don't realize, and you brought up a good point too, is that, when you become a public person, a lot of times you're ready for it, you're prepared for it, sometimes you're not, like, diaper man, I wasn't ready for it. But, but I've had similar things. I had people threaten, my family because they thought that they could somehow have a better, now, what sense does that make? How mentally unstable do you have to be to think, oh yes, if I take out your family, I have so much better chance with you? I mean, what are you thinking? Honestly, but really,
it's in the whole same category of, that meeting. It's the same line as the guy with the diapers.
Yeah,
it's like
you need mental help. You need help.
There's some crazies out there, and some of them end up on the ice.
That's it. That's it. And then
every now and then,
5 minutes for fighting, or $5,000 fine for almost killing people. So it doesn't matter, or whatever. It's not my league.
What did you think about that Capitals, like Tom Wilson doing that in the Rangers game?
Here's the thing. Tom Wilson's the dog that's bit everybody in the neighborhood. Because why? 1.3 million in fines, 30 game suspensions, stuff. So the fact that I take exception to him drilling a guy a couple times and punch him in the head while he's on the ground, that with Panarin and stuff like that, I don't want you treating my stars like that. So I get it when you jump on my back, but I know who's on the ice, and I know the fact that your gloves aren't off. So, and the fact the league didn't suspend him sets a precedent. So it sets up a precedence for a guy like Gostisbehere from Philly to cross-check whoever he did at the end of the play from behind after an empty net goal, and my thing is if you don't settle it now, then let the guys on the ice settle it, like the Rangers, Capitals did coming back, because that was handled the right way.
Right.
You know, so I just think that the league dropped the ball, and then they went out and fined. Then the Rangers complained, and then the league fined. So they fined Wilson $5,000 for doing that stuff, and the Rangers $250,000 for bitching about it. I don't get it, man.
It's totally different from the
Not my league, bro.
It's totally different from the game you play.
Not my league.
True that for sure. But you've been through a rebuild. You were there before the Red Wings got good. You were there when they were gods. And you were there a little bit afterwards too. What do you look for in a rebuild, and are you seeing it in the Wings right now?
Well, you gotta plug and play. Take any championship team. Okay, so we're talking hockey. So I don't care if it's any of our teams or Tampa from last year, and you gotta put players in who's gonna fill the role of different players. Now, you can't move on to the playoffs until you have this done, and this isn't even gone to the ice yet. So we're starting to get a few pieces and stuff like that. What I just say is, again, the Weiser plan. It took him 8 years in Tampa. The key for me is when he puts his claim on the goalie that's going to lead us there. Yep. Right? Like Vasilevsky in Tampa, he drafted him. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a signing, but they're not ready right now. Now Grice and Bernier played well, but they're not going to be here. I expect one of them to be back. But, we'll see where that is. But so just knowing Stevie, I expect, so he's been here 2 years, so 2 more years to make the playoffs, then a couple more years. So it's like a 3, 4, 5 year plan from now. So it's just, and I'm okay because there's progress. I use the analogy, well, thank God the ship's left the harbor and it's out at sea. Where it's going, I don't know. Let it go. It's out there. Because we're not going around the harbor like this. So you could be like, hey, the Tigers are in a dinghy. And they don't even have a motor.
Oh.
They're so far away. But the other 3 teams, there's something going on.
I had so much hope, didn't I? I really did. My dad was a ball player. I was raised on baseball, and I love it still.
You got smoke and mirrored.
I know. I had so much hope.
In the system. You got smoke and mirrored with what's in the system because it's supposed to be your pitching that carries you through whatever else.
Yes. That's right.
You got to be like.
You know how I thought of it? It was kind of like there was all this foreplay with the Tigers, and then it didn't happen, and I was so disappointed.
Well,
I'm let down, man. I'm let down.
It's almost like getting ridiculous. Miguel Cabrera's got under 100 under 100, and he didn't get a hit in New York to tie the Babe, and now it's like, is he gonna get the 500 home runs?
He might not even get the 500. The sad part about it is he was here when they were good, and now he's like dealing with like the worst of the worst.
Well,
they were supposed to go through rebuild like the Red Wings did, like the Lions did, like the Pistons are doing. But the problem is they just don't have a plan in place.
No, they never got return on their investment. They have no farm system. They have no.
That's right.
They can't draft. They have nothing coming up, and then they hit and miss on everything. Now you see today the Anaheim Angels released last year of his 10-year contract, but they released Albert Pujols. Same sort of deal as Miguel Cabrera, except Miguel's got two more years left, and sometimes you get hamstrung by those big deals, and that's what's happening here. But there's really nothing to go around it.
It's like what I made the case to Cindy yesterday when we were talking. I was like, the Lions, they go out and get Michael Brockers as like that guy in the culture. The Pistons go get a guy in Jeremy Grant who could be a player now. Eisman's brought in tons of people that he's just trying to get through to show that what they're trying to do. And then you got the Tigers bringing in like Robbie Grossman.
No, but it's just bringing it. But it's really you're turned into like the Pittsburgh Pirate. You're turned into a dump site. And I'm saying like there's no you're a AAA farm team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You really don't have major league guys. They made 4 errors today. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. It's just
there's not a player on that team will probably be there when they're ready to win.
Which is sad. Sad.
Well,
I like a Kill Badoo though. What do you think of a Kill Badoo?
Here's the thing. What you're finding is that the guy he hadn't had time. It's like when they didn't know how to pitch him. Now the league knows how to pitch him and stuff like this. But he's really set up for failure because he hadn't really played in the minors and get the at bats and stuff. I think it's a talent. I think it's a great story. I'd love to see him do great, but it's tough to get your licks in at the top shelf level against Major League, the best in the game. Once they know how to pitch you.
Absolutely.
If you went straight to the NHL, like that'd be
like some guys can.
Yeah.
Right. Some kids are ready, but even back in the day, for me, I needed that year in the minors to fight 45 times and stuff like that.
But what's interesting, and I don't think a lot of people know this, because one of the things we said when we have people on, we're going to ask questions and find things out maybe about folks that you didn't know before, which makes us different too. But your secondary sport, and maybe even your first sport love was you always loved hockey, I know, but you were also a baseball player.
Oh, baseball was
and I even know the position he played. Joe, do you know? Don't give it away, Darren. What position do you think this guy played in baseball?
I'm gonna go like first base.
Nah. Give it away, bro. I already gave it away when I said Lance Parrish.
Pitcher.
He was a catcher.
Catcher.
He was a catcher and a darn decent catcher.
That is embarrassing. Joe's gonna be. Hey, Joe fell off his chair. I did not hit him. His arms that quick. Can you cut that for a second?
Before the
84 Tigers.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lance Parrish is still, and a massive man. That guy's a mountain too, and he's a huge guy. Great catcher. And now, did you enjoy? But here's the thing, because that'll kill your knees. And then you go into hockey, right? But did you enjoy being a catcher, or would you have preferred to play something else? Did you enjoy being a catcher?
I loved it. They had to stick me back there because I AED and I run all over the place. I like playing second base too.
Yeah.
That's why I play softball.
See, my first thing was I was gonna say catcher, but then I was like, I don't know, he's a little bit athletic to play like first base.
Yeah.
Not big. I had a gun though. I had a good arm, but I couldn't hit the curveball. I was better at punching people in the face. It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out okay. And we're glad actually that you chose hockey instead of baseball.
Speaking of punching people in the face.
Yeah.
The Club you fight.
Yeah.
Tell people how that happened. Like obviously the Draper thing.
Right.
Like what that obviously led to the '97 Stanley Cup. Pretty much.
Well, I use March 26th, 1997. I call it Red Wing D-Day. Because that's looking back in hindsight, which was you see the fight picture called Sweet Revenge. You go back to that date, and because of what had happened the year before, not just, you got to go back to, like Cindy said about building the team, being a part of a building. Well, how you learn in life, at least how I learn, is by losing and by knowing what you don't want and knowing what you don't like, and then surrounding yourself with people that help you get to where you want to go. So losing in '95 to the Devils in the finals, then setting the league record 62 wins and losing to Colorado in Game 6, and at that game when Chris Draper gets hit from behind right in front of me. And that's why I tell people, in life and in sports, bad things happen, but you can't lose respect for fellow human beings, right? And the fact Claude Lemieux didn't apologize, said you never would have heard Chris Draper and screw him, just made him money or something, whatever like this. That doesn't sit well as a human being with me.
Yep.
So the fact that it went all the way, and back in the day we only played them 4 times, 2 at home, 2 away, and he was hurt for 2 of them and didn't get an opportunity and didn't really want to do it in Colorado. So it was just an unwritten rule that nothing was ever said in the locker room. The only thing that was ever said was when I got draped out of the hospital 2 days after getting his face smashed and the doctor gave me pliers. It's in case he was going to get sick or whatever like that, to snip the wires because his jaw was wired shut. This is the only time anything was said. Because I turned to him and I said 2 things. I said one thing and then I asked him a question. I turned to him and I said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of that." And then I asked him, "Where do you want to eat?" I'm surprised you didn't. I knew the answer was on Yamo. He wanted to play Inoki, and if you want to know how long it takes a selfish prick with his face wide shut to play Inoki, it's 4 hours. Don't worry, I was drinking back then. I was on the bitch, my food floppy, so in the boat.
It was all good.
It was all good, but yeah, just so I call it God shot, and the way it plays out. And I'm a little biased because I'm the star, but the fact that the way it played out. So I just think, it got so bad that, I'm sober I got sober for the first time in the summer of '96. So through that '97 season, I was battling in the head. I'm always thinking, how am I going to get this guy? How am I going to get this guy? And then as it plays out more towards that day of the game, got to the beginning of March, I got on my knees and I just went, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm driving myself crazy. Just whatever happens, make sure I'm the messenger. Like I said,
it's all right.
Feel free. I'm just like that. Come on, man. You don't even need my phone or nothing. But the whole point is the way it played out, and this is where I tell people looking back on it, and the more I see it, or the back over time, as life explains itself, and as you learn more about everything else, everything falls sort of into place. Because you look back, and I never realized it till watching the Russian 5 20 times. That Igor Larionov, Peter Forsberg, I knew I've started it, but Igor being the elder statesman, sometimes you need the leadership just to tip the scale. Because when he did that, I remember looking over going, there's Igor Larionov, biggest pacifist since Gandhi. There's freaking Peter Forsberg. They're rolling around like puppies on Christmas morning. And I was like, oh, look at them, they're cute. And then I was like,
how cute.
He was on the ice. Went to Shark Week, but Adam Foote, that big nose lumberjack ugly, grabbed me. Shanny broke my arm loose, and I sought out Lemieux, and that's when I looked him right between the eyes. That's what I tell people is, yes, wish, put it in the universe, manifest what you want to happen, but be prepared to grab that opportunity when it's right there. So I didn't have a split second, but listen, here's how I know that it's because when I pulled my right back, and I'm a lefty, but this is a hospital, this is a graveyard. This has got power, but it's like, man. But when I pulled it back, every man, woman, child, doesn't matter if they were little babies or they were grandmas, was in this freaking hand, and I hit him. And he even said he didn't interpret. He said it's the hardest he ever been hit. He was out. And I said, thank God. Hey, but I didn't know all the stuff was going on behind me, the goalie fights and Shanny. I didn't know because I'm focused on taking my fist and putting it through his skull and ripping his heart out through his nostrils, even though anatomically I know it's not possible. But I wanted to, and then I got so mad I couldn't get him that I just all of a sudden, and it was like I remember it, and I know it wasn't like this, but this is what it was like. It was like church, where the sunbeam comes through the pane glass window, and it shone down, and there was drapes. And I went, oh, here's your head. And I bulldogged his head, which means I took his face, and I smashed it as hard as I could against the boards. Made a paintball spray like this, and if you see when he got up, he was all messed up.
Yeah.
Right? And then I tried to knee him. That I got $2,500 fine for that. 4 minutes for roughing, 10 minutes misconduct, stayed in the game, scored the overtime winner, and at that moment, at the end of it, every man, woman, and child, and wing-wheeled nation in the building, in the city, state, country, world, universe, other universes.
That's right.
That was the proverbial, this is why it's needed, because that was the proverbial, it's going to be all right. Don't know what it means, it's going to be all right. And that's the first time I ever felt it. The second time I ever felt it was when Steve Eisen was named general manager of the Detroit Red Wings. I was at the press conference, and that same feeling hit me.
Amen. Absolutely.
So that's how I know. Keep betting futures every year, starting in 3 years.
You know how I know that's D-Day is because that was actually one of the first games I watched in my life. No, because I was like 3 years old. But like.
And you remember it?
Yeah, I did remember it because after that, I got a Darren McCarty jersey.
My man.
There you go.
I got it, and then I would play him. I'd play hockey in my basement.
It took me until I was 46 to get a Darren McCarty jersey. Just saying.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter. But some of us, I went to 4 rehabs, $1 million in this brain, right? It took me a little bit longer than most to get that. Cindy, it's okay. Let me see. Hold on. That was 16. I was 44. I got it when I was 44.
So I would play hockey in my basement, right? So wearing a Darren McCarty jersey, you kind of like want to hit.
You want to hit shit.
Yeah.
I got you.
You want to take people out, right?
Right.
So I'd line up these like jam.
You didn't go after your little sister, did you?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Better of.
No,
we couldn't hurt them. We had to save them for pile driving.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'd take these like stuffed animals I had. I would just wreck them into the wall, right? that was wearing the D-Mac jersey. D-Mac was my guy.
Then when you took it off, you put a Fedorov on. Then you just dangle around the teddies. Dangle around the teddies. Toe drag the teddy.
You act like you're on wheels, when you're Fedorov.
I love it. Yeah, because you were. Yeah. No, I love it, man. I mean, that's, and all honesty, I don't really think about that, but it's the coolest part, and I realized that last year golfing, it just clicked in, is because all you kids, and you're a little bit younger, but all the 6, 7, 8-year-olds to 15-year-olds are now 35 to 45, and they have their own kids, their own families, they're married. Now we can have a different conversation than we would have had when you were 3. I mean, I might have used different words.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah. See, so all those kids have grown up and they're all watching the Cindy and Joe show on Between the Whistles.
Right,
that's right.
My household was really live, so you would fit in.
I love it, but that's the whole point, right? So it's, to me, it's about the culture, it's about the connection, and I, when it comes to the Red Wings and stuff, I just remind people of this is who we are.
Yes.
All of us, the wing. This is and the sports. And it's because it's the accountability and the sharing, and there's nothing like a parade in Detroit.
Well, and you became a hero that day, clearly, and you became, I think, you became everyone's hero. And even now, and one of the things I was going to ask you about was, a lot of players come to Detroit, a lot of them have played here and been beloved, but you were different, and why people identify with you so much from Detroit, even though you're not from here, but we're your adopted hometown, I think, and you're our adopted son, or you're our favorite son. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you particularly identify, or Detroit identifies with you so much?
You got to understand, I grew up in Western Ontario, give or take 10 minutes from my house I grew up in was 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And, my grandparents' house was half the distance. So I grew up, and when you grow up over there, and because what I loved about the Wings growing up, and when Stevie came, I think I was 10 years old, but the fact is they didn't win, but they could beat the shit out of people, which I loved, and then it would cheer everybody else, and plus my cousins and everybody in town were Montreal or Toronto, but I've been to Olympia, I went to Tiger Stadium more times. I mean, I was at Joe Louis Arena when Mr. Illich was giving away cars, but I was pissed off, 12 years old, that I couldn't win a car. So I said, Mr. Illich, you're going to buy me some cars someday, and he did.
There you go.
So I just, it was always important. I always wanted to be from, there's a respect thing, and I think it goes both ways about the honest day's work, and you know what you're going to get. And I was just the vessel that there's so many people wanted to be, and the best is talk to hockey moms or hockey grandmas who's just and they get going and about kicking his ass, and I just sit there and I love it because that's what I was raised on. Yeah. My mom was the hockey, the educate, my grandma, and my uncles and my grandpa too, but and then because why, Cindy, is because I don't just live in the outskirts of Detroit, I live Detroit. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm the most seen, not as much now, unless you're at the casino. That's the casino, and that's pretty much. Right. Because I was always out. I was in the music scene. I was, I met Kid Rock back in his rap days, and I've seen this.
He's a great guy.
I love this city.
Great guy.
Love what it's about. Trick, all the different stuff. We've all grown up together and watched the city together and have love for the city. Yep. And I take great pride. I mean, it's, I consider myself the Detroit, Michigan's favorite stepson. I named myself, of course, but I've tried to take it away from me.
No, I agree. I agree with that because if you I work at Detroit Diesel, blue collar guys. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
One thing that you can always hear from them is Darren was one of their favorite players. And the reason he was is because he never took a time off the ice. When he was on the ice, it was work.
Yeah, it was and be in the grind line. All of us, from Joey, Drapes, Maltz, myself, whatever version, we took great pride in representing everybody that has to do the 9 to 5 or 12 to 8, whatever shift it is, has to grind it out, and then chooses to live and die and spend their money or spend their time and invest in, well, we invest back. Like, that's what it's about being from Detroit, and especially in the wing wheel culture, and even now it's more important because it's about life. Yeah. So yeah, the hockey's the hockey, and we all want to win and we all want to do that, but dude, you know, we all go through life, and life's different, but it's like all about the human connection, right? So, and we've all lost people along the way, and unfortunately there'll be more casualties and stuff, but it's just putting people together and giving them the options of that they can make their own decision, and you really understand that nothing happens to you that you don't allow.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just manifesting positive, you know, positive vibrate, you know. The one thing that I know is that I hope, and I have the saying, there's two: get educated, get medicated. But the other one is, don't tell me what, tell me who.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what it's about. Who is it? Who is the person? And Darren McCarty, you know, I need to know why. I don't need to know yes or no. I can accept anything. I was coached by Scotty Bowman. I got told no a lot. Right? But it's about, I need to know why. Why are we doing this? What's the big play? Because, you know, the difference is I used to live and always think it was going to get taken away. So it was either work that hard or live it or live it as hard, so that if it does, that you can't say what if, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's a mentality. You talk about sight. It's a mentality to understand. I always knew who Darren McCarty was to everybody else. Never knew who I was to myself, right? Until I got sober off of alcohol and everything other than cannabis, which is my medication. Why I have Darren McCarty brand. Why I say it once and show it twice. So my CBD roll-on, which I use, help for pain, and is my personal, and to my black eye flower, to all the flower, my pre-rolls and everything that's out throughout.
Yeah, you have really just evolved into, one of the things, you kind of remind me of Madonna. Let me tell you why. Because here's why. She's a legend. So are you.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say slut.
Well, now if you want to fill in some details in there, yes. Right, yes. Just a little bit. Oh, and I've heard that, because believe me, when I say my friend is Darren McCarty, they say, "Oh, he had a lot of women." I'll say, "Yes, I've heard the stories, you know." But she's a legend. She's an icon, just like you. And you know, she throughout the years, she's been in the business a long time. You had a long career, and she continued to reinvent herself to stay relevant. I believe you've done the same thing. You have reinvented yourself. You have risen like a phoenix from the ashes. When everybody counted you out, you were kind of down and out, and then you revived yourself, and you've reinvented yourself, and you've built more things. You've gotten to know who you were, and you and I are the same age. Joe's he's a young thing, so we don't want to. But you and I both know we're about the same age. As you get to a point in life, you know, where you know who you are, you know what you want, and you make no apologies for it. And you live your truth. And so I always said that you kind of were you're like the hockey Madonna to me, because you were an icon and you remained relevant. And it's tough to reinvent yourself. I mean, it's great when you get to the top of the mountain once, but when you fall to the bottom and have to get yourself back up there, that's more challenging, I've found.
Nah, but it's you know what, it goes down to your mentality, right? So to me, it was either, was I gonna quit? And I mean that, like, quit life, which I was, because after I retired, between 2009 and 2015, November 11th actually, I lived leaving Las Vegas, not trying to kill myself, but because I was such a raging alcoholic and I was such a disease. I was 80 pounds heavier, like my organs were gonna explode. I mean, it was like life or death, and thank God through the plant and through the love of the caregivers and the friends that I had around me that I decided, and this is what I say, no matter how bad it gets, right? Like for me, it was like it wasn't the love of a woman, it was the love of a woman to believe in myself enough, right? You know, and it's something that when you're done feeling sorry for yourself and you want to do something about it, that's what it was. So and then I'm talking about my wife now, but I had an ally, and that's why I said, you know, no matter what, and that's my best friend, but somebody who believed in me enough, because it was the fact that it wasn't the fact of getting up, it was the fact, was I gonna roll over, you know what I mean, or was I just gonna quit? And honestly, like, it was just fine. It was that close. It could have been teeter-totter that way, and a lot of different things happened. And you know, a big influence on me was Bob Prover's death. And
yeah, tell us about that, because you know, people bring that up to me sometimes when they know that we find out that we're friends, and they'll say, oh, they'll mention Bob Probert, and I'll say, you know, Darren, I think Darren still misses him.
Well, yeah, you do,
yeah.
but he's one of the casualties. But one thing I say about Bob Probert is not only just the stuff, you know, on the ice and being such a great guy off the ice, but and having his issues, but he showed me where the line was. So I would get to the line and I could teeter on it, and I'm still here for this day. You want to talk about poison ice? He's trying to wrap you up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about, so interesting story, right? So how we became acquainted. What's funny is when people first like find out Darren and I know each other, and because we're kind of similar, sort of the same age, they make this assumption that somewhere along the way, like Darren and I knew each other way back, and they'll be like, "Oh, were you a puck bunny?" Are you kidding me? No, I'm sure. I don't think so. And
Joe, it's just because
I just found out.
Don't believe that anybody my age that I came across that knew me that I didn't sleep with them back.
Right.
Exactly.
Pretty much what.
That's what they're implying. Yeah.
So they're even more surprised when they find out that I knew nothing about hockey 2.5 years ago. Not a clue. I was raised on baseball. Dad was a baseball player, or played baseball, and I didn't have a clue, knew nothing. I knew they were on ice. I knew they had goals, right? I knew and there was a puck. I knew that. That was it.
You didn't know there was a goal. And
I might not have known there was a goal. I knew nothing. I knew nothing. So I started. So,
who is Homer?
Right, exactly. So I knew nothing. So that's why I wanted to know how far I'd come. See, but anyway, so. A long way. So anyway, the point is that when I
think about Cindy, she's a quick study. She's a quick learn. You get her to understand, and then boom, she's an expert the next time you talk about it. That's the difference.
I'm a quick study. I'm just not a quick talker. So anyway, because I'll drag stuff out for the next hour. So
politician.
That's the problem. That's the politician. John, he gets on me all the time. But so a couple of years ago, just so give you guys an idea of why Darren and I know each other. And by the way, it's been a blessing in my life, and I say that all the time. Absolutely. And yeah, Joe will bring Joe into it. Why not? And so let him think he's important from time to time. So Joe's another blessing in my life. So I'm very blessed actually to be here with these two guys. Anyway, Love Fest over. Here's the thing. I came up with an idea to write a novel a couple of years ago, and it is a novel about corruption in politics, meaning corruption in professional sports. And it was originally going to be a baseball-themed book for my dad, and as a legacy to him. And it turned out that when the publishers and the producers and all the folks that are now interested in the story kind of got a hold of it, they said, "This is fantastic. Here's the thing. Would you consider some other sport other than baseball? Would you consider football or hockey? We believe it'll market better." And I said, well, let's see. I don't know anything about either one of those sports. Isn't it funny, ironic that we're on this show together now? But I still don't know anything about either one of those sports. But I think the Red Wings used to be kind of good at one point, I remember. And hockey season was kind of ramping up. Football season was coming down. It was like November 2018. And I said, well, I guess I'm going to pick hockey because I can study it. I can go to the games. And I'm an academic, right? I have academic credentials. I can learn this stuff. I'll do research. Started my research, found out that in order for it to be authentic, and I wanted the story to be authentic. I knew the politics stuff I could cover, but I said, in order for it to be authentic, I need to find a guy. I need to find someone who's been there, who's been a professional hockey player, who will give me the background on this. And so I asked around.
Down low.
The down low, the real. And I asked around, and some very credible people. 3 people in the same week said to me, "You got to find this guy. Oh, have you talked to this guy?" And they kept mentioning the same guy, the same name. I didn't know who he was. I had no clue, right? No clue. I was one of those people, all right? I had no clue. And they said, "You need to find Darren McCarty." And I'm like, Darren McCarty? Okay. All right. Wrote the name down, Darren McCarty. Just by sheer happenstance on social media, something comes across my feed about this Darren McCarty guy.
It has nothing to do with the government monitoring your phone and your thoughts and stuff like that.
And so no worries. So I'm like, well, I'm going to call this number. I think this is the same guy. I'm going to call the number. Ended up calling the number, and I said, hey, I've got this interesting project. I don't know if Mr. McCarty would be interested in it, but maybe he would be. And then kind of the rest is history. I came on the project, explained the storyline to him, and
brilliant.
Right?
No, it was brilliant because it not only made sense, but some sitting down with Cindy from day one and just to get to know her and understanding. I knew from day one the story was absolutely brilliant because it hasn't been done, but it's realistic, and the fact that all the different things. So now she asked me. So I'm sort of like she's when I say don't argue, but what do you mean by that? That's what do you mean by that? So I point Cindy in directions. Yeah. Cindy does all the work, right? I just clarify different things, and she's smart enough to be able to read in, but I'm able to elaborate and more, and it helps out with the way the character development and different things. It's been a fun project, and obviously COVID for everybody
slowed it down,
derailed everything. But that's the brilliance. It actually, what I told Cindy is that actually it's not a rush. It's a rush to get it done right, but it's actually in the time. It's actually giving more people opportunity to know what they want. So
absolutely,
it's something that hope, like you said, and the original and here's the thing. It's so good that she's already has pretty much 3 books done of it, but the fact is the books take so long. Like I told her, we might have to go do a movie first.
Yeah, and we might.
So you never know, but the first.
You never know. You might see the movie come out first.
But the ideas and what I said as a fan of not politics and as a fan of hockey or whatever, to see reality intertwine and how it could make sense and. And it's it's the reality of it, and I'm so happy to be involved with it. But this is Cindy's baby, so I mean, it's
an awesome story.
It's
and the reality of what it is, and the characters and stuff. It's something that I believe, has sustenance into even it can
happen at some point. Yeah.
Well, and I think any good story, it has a real line of plausibility in there that this could actually happen, and it was. Well, and I've been in politics for 25 years,
we
right?
Get the book done before this happens.
You're not kidding. I mean, I even had some things that happened. I went, oh my God, did someone get my manuscript or something like this? Because I'm seeing some things happen here. But the thing that was important to me about the book is that when you read the book or when you see the movie, and there will be a movie, and I know that we kind of alluded to that when I was on Grind Time with you a couple of years ago now. And now it looks like the movie may happen before the book, like you said, but we're excited about that. But we are pulling the curtain back on 2 worlds that most people never get a glimpse at, and that is high-level politics and professional sports. And you're going to be able to live that through the characters in the book, and I'm happy to bring that to you. And Darren was such a huge part. You've just been such a huge part of making that real, because that character could very well have been you. I mean, he's a fantastic guy. He's a 28-year-old power forward. He finds out about a scheme.
He's smarter than me early. I wish I was.
Wish you were Ryan Thompson.
I wish I was as smart as he was as young as he was.
And finds out.
That's how we get to learn.
Yeah, and finds out about a scheme to fix the Stanley Cup Finals, and the integrity of the game means so much to him that he attempts to thwart that, and then of course. You've got to have a woman on the other side of it, which is a 40-year-old widowed mayor who's up and coming, and she finds out about an attempt to undermine the heart of her city, and she's not going to let that happen. She's not going to stand for that, so she attempts to thwart that. They find out they're facing the same villain. Dun, dun. And, of course, you have to understand that while they're going to decide whether they're going to save their worlds, they're going to decide if they're going to save each other, because you gotta have a romance, and a younger guy, older woman, you can't turn that down, which was do you remember? That was the first question I asked you. The very first question I asked Darren McCarty wasn't anything about hockey. The first thing I said was, Darren, I want this to be realistic. Is it realistic that a 28-year-old guy would be interested in a 40-year-old woman? And what was your answer?
100%.
Absolutely. I actually used some other language too, but absolutely. I'm like, you wouldn't razz a guy in the locker room about that? I said, absolutely not.
Just MILF.
And then you told me there's like there's no
well, you didn't know
and there's a term for it.
If I could get MILF in for the kids at home playing, of course I can.
And there was oh jeez. Okay, now there was a term for it.
I tried to tell Cindy
right?
that actually you get bonus point. I mean, you get like that's like you get the Jameson. I mean, they're not drinking out of the till, man. You get to.
You get the top shelf.
Top shelf. That score.
That's right. And so I said, and he said, yeah. He goes, oh yeah, Cindy. Do you remember we call that what do you call it when one of you young bucks? He's like, oh yeah, young guy come into the league. You get a 35, 40, 45-year-old woman. What's it called? It's called a cougar kill. I said, oh, there's a name for it. I was mortified. There's a name for it. Oh yeah, it's a cougar kill.
I didn't make it up.
Well, you gave it to me.
Well, no, I didn't. I passed it along that it's called
a cougar kill. I said, oh my God, there's a name for it. I was mortified. Now I'm anesthetized to it. What's that?
I said the young buck got it.
Apparently so. So fascinating stuff, but no, I mean, I think that, there's really three storylines in the books that are great.
Now you just open up a can because now there's the difference.
Oh boy.
Between a MILF and a cougar. Well, there you
go. Tell me that.
Yeah, well,
where do they fit
MILF
in?
has kids.
Okay.
Cougars over 40.
Cougars over 40.
You can be a MILF in your 30s.
Gotcha.
You can't be a MILF in your 20s.
Well, thank God you cleared that up.
No, I know.
Because I was a little unsure of where I fell into that whole thing.
50 to 50, the silver fox. That's you get up there. And then if you're probably over 60, you're into the gilf.
Joe,
she's getting emails. What site is Cindy on?
Oh,
getting emails from guys that want her to change the diapers.
Exactly.
I'm just talking about
Facebook.
good old-fashioned banging.
Darren, Facebook is a dangerous place, I'm telling you.
I don't think it's just Facebook.
I don't know where they find me. I really don't. I swear I don't. But I know. But the point is, I didn't understand it. I hadn't encountered it.
Delete the browser.
Stop it now. You guys are just in dreamland there.
Right, crypto. Yeah.
They're just trying to give me a hard time. See, now they're both ganging up on me. Can I get some help here?
I wasn't ganging up.
You were.
No, I was just making a point.
But yeah. So I'm excited about the project. We're really hoping that book comes out. We're hoping to publish next year. Very, very much likely. Yeah, right. It's going to be right when it comes out, and it's going to be. I'm really excited about it too. So that's my baby, and I'm thrilled about it. But lots of great stuff. But it's the real, and so are you.
Thank you.
The real, and yeah, and I love you.
Yeah, love you too.
This was an awesome show.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah, we hug. We don't fist bump. All right. Joe, you got any?
McCarty.com.
Absolutely.
That's where I go to find out what I'm doing.
And I'll tell you, and if you want a good steak, you have to come here to our fabulous hosts at Steakhouse 22 in Shelby Township. Billy and George, we love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here at your fine place.
North of 59.
Oh, you got it. You got to try. I mean, I was here.
Easy breezy.
The prime rib is unbelievable. If you're ever going to blow your diet, ladies, you want to blow it here. This is the place to do it. So I can testify to that, and so can my trainer.
We're talking about prime rib. Oh. I didn't know if you're talking about more emails you got or something.
Oh, my crazy stuff. Have to keep you updated on that.
Until next time, we'll see you on the next Between the Whistles.
Catch you next time.